We have 3 rounds left, and these players are pretty much now fighting for a guaranteed spot in top cut.
Yes.
Most of these players should have very high resistance, so if they win this round, their top cut pretty much should be guaranteed. Definitely is if they win the next round, but this one nearly guarantees it.
100%. It'll be very interesting from here. Like, this is where it starts getting spicy. Every game is like, well, this is the difference between my whole day, making it to day 2 or not. So it's very, very important games here. I think for the next few rounds, we'll be showing you, past this point, this is our last probably undefeated round. From the next few rounds onwards, we'll be showing you these games, which are very much win and ins. So,
yeah, for sure. And one of the big things that we will see in this game is these players have gone through it all to make it to 6-0. But let's just get right into the table. All right, so these players are all set up and nearly ready to go. We have Blue Buggy versus Blackbeard. And as I was saying earlier, these players, they might have an easy round or two to get to the 6-0 position, but there is no doubt they had to work to get to where they are to be able to be 6-0, and winning this game gets them into top cut. It is kind of crazy how much effort they would have had to put in, how perfectly they would have to play it throughout the whole day. Keen to see how it ends up.
Yeah, 100%. We do see Buggy going first here. It'd be interesting who won dice roll. Buggy does want to go first. Blackbeard sort of wants to go second. I would assume Blackbeard does take away Buggy's first curve, though. The second curve is still pretty weak in comparison, even with all these buffs. So we'll have to see how fast can Buggy establish this board and start pushing the pressure on to Blackbeard before Blackbeard can stabilize and start removing this board.
Yeah, for sure. And this is really cool. It's the first time we get to see Buggy with the new cards on stream. I know we went over the deck list with you all earlier on in the stream, but we actually get to see the cards in action right now, which is really cool. But this matchup, I think, is actually pretty close. I don't think any deck kind of has it over the other one, because two things can happen. Blackbeard can use leader effect, and on plays don't happen, in which case Buggy can go, I'm going to play 12 drop.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to play the 12 drop. No one play. I don't have to bomb deck it. In which case Blackbeard goes, oh, that's kind of annoying. Or, you know, they can not do leader effect, and then Buggy has to build up their board the normal way, but once it has a full board, it can bot deck the 10 drop. So it's kind of this awkward thing where Blackbeard probably just doesn't use a leader effect until the Buggy hits 4 cards on board, and then uses leader effect, but it's also, Buggy can quite easily, for 10, get 3 cards out. So it'll be quite interesting. It looks like we're seeing an aggressive line going 5 with the Mr. 3 and then 5 with the Buggy leader. I think I saw a Sanji. No, I didn't see it. It was a Sable. It's not a Sanji peel-off. But this line is still very strong against Blackbeard because Blackbeard has a very limited amount of cards in their hand after they start discarding for leader effect.
Yeah, definitely. This is one of the most awkward turns in the game for Buggy. It's like 3 Don. You can't use your leader effect yet. You have no 3 costs in the deck. A lot of people are playing the Sanji's peel off just to draw cards on this turn and hope the rest are in life for triggers, really. Or filling in these weird, awkward turns where you want to swing with some of your Dawn and then only use leader effect once. So putting in the pressure with 5-5 is probably the best case scenario in this instance of what to do on this turn.
For sure, and it will be quite interesting how this game develops, mainly because there's a good chance that Teach wants to starve Buggy, because Buggy has to discard for the leader effect. Buggy's hand can get quite small, and Teach is one of the best decks at bringing a losing board state back to a winning position. So being able to do that, making Buggy have less and less cards in hand, is a line that Blackbeard can take. And I can't tell you I know this matchup because I've never played Blackbeard, and I've played Buggy maybe once, and I've definitely never played this exact matchup. So I'm keen to see how these players choose their lines based on their experience.
Yeah, 100%. I think from the Blackbeard side, it's how much board queue you control while keeping most of these resources in your hand. But like you said, it's very much a starve matchup from my understanding as well. It's like you're never swinging into the Buggies. Like you force them to find these Alvidas and these cards just through the natural draw at the start. And then go, yeah, you're going to cycle a lot. It kind of is what it is. But we do see the leader effect coming down on this 5 Don turn. Seems very, other than the 10 Don turn, it seems like the very key one. The first time I was like, I've got really nothing to do. Sure, you can play a 10 cost here. if you do, you're still going minus 2 cards in hand. You don't really have a lot of resources at this point. And I'm on 4 life. I don't really mind if you just play this out. So I just force you to have it right now.
Yeah, and I think the big thing about it is, look, at this point, a 7K versus a 12K swing, it's the same. It's the same number. So
Yes,
it doesn't really matter that it's a 12K. Like, sure, it's annoying. Being a 10 cost makes it very difficult to remove, but
Yeah,
it's the same number.
I think this is also better than them playing the 8 cost and then playing out a 4 cost and starting to develop that board, getting that board protection, which is very huge in the Blackbeard. Blackbeard kind of struggles to remove 1 card at the best of times, let alone double removing something in a turn is just not going to happen like 99% of the time. So I think at least going, this 10-12 is the lesser of 2 evils compared to a board that's never been removed from this point. So I definitely think as one understood what was going to happen when he did that and went, this is it is what it is at this point. This is my road to win this game, is going and letting him play this out.
For sure, and especially because he has the second curve, it's definitely nowhere near as bad, purely because he's able to just slam 10 cost Teach on 10 dom, which is just 2 turns away. So this buggy only gets 2 turns of swinging, and one of them being blocked by Caribou.
Yes.
So unless Alistair has like big backup plays, it's going to be decently rough for him to be able to develop and push.
Yeah, so we do see finding the 7 cost Teach come out. Just a nice big body to have out. It's Buggy generally only runs that small removal in terms of the events, like the Sables, doesn't run any of the big red rocks or anything. So generally these like mid to large cards generally survive the removal of Buggy, and it's just this 10-12 that would normally be able to do it, which if you don't use the effect will not be either played or will just be gone. So it kind of like handles itself.
For sure, and it's very interesting if we see the leader effect come down this turn or not. Looking at Alistair's hand, it's nothing special, right? Like, I think there's some Alvidas. We do see the leader effect. I think he's just saying, look, you've had 1 searcher. If you have multiple buggies, I might auto-lose this game. However, I'm playing the odds. I'm playing the statistics.
He did just top deck another one. We will see another 10.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. We will probably see the 7-12 swing coming through and then just go, here you go. I'm doing it again.
And, I mean, when you talk about percentages in terms of matchups, it's like, oh, this is 60-40, this is a 70-30. A lot of those times, it's just, the game might not seem close, right? Like, this game could end up being a blowout. It might not seem very close, but at the same time, it's like these statistics, right? If Alistair doesn't top deck that buggy, is this now in Blackbeard's favor, right? It's things like that which make it a 70-30, not so much, or like a 50-50 matchup. It's not so much every game it comes down to the wire and it's 1K counter or the other. Yep. Sometimes it's just the early game momentum can swing one way or the other, and at the moment, it's in Buggy's favor.
Yeah, 100%. You run this game 100 times, 50% of the time, he just doesn't see the 10 cost. You never swing, you starve him, and he goes, I don't really want to pay 5 for a 6 that does nothing. So I guess I just swing 10 with leader and then pay 6 for my vanilla next turn. It's yeah, I think it's very hard when you're in this situation. It's like, well, he had it, damn. But you've got to objectively look at it sometimes and go, this is the correct way to do it. If it happens, it happens, but I'm playing the game correctly. I can't feel bad that I've made the correct decisions. It didn't work out for me this time, but as long as I've done the correct things, that's all that matters.
Yeah, for sure. We do still see the starve come down. So there's a good chance, right? If there's a couple teachers come down, these buggies aren't as useful, but at the same time, I don't see these buggies ever being cleared, right?
No.
So every turn, it's like, okay, one teach can kind of answer one buggy because it's like, okay, you play the teach, you stun one, and then I'll block plus 1K the other. But you're still losing 2 cards in hand, 3 if you're using your leader's effect, which means Black people run out cards super, super quickly.
Yeah, 100%. The very scary thing is if yours one here, you go, I could potentially just be facing down at 12-12-12 next turn, and I do not have any blockers in my hand. That sucks. So this Kuzan may just be swing. Like I think you have to swing at this point. Starving is like not an option anymore. If he has two 12k swings, I need to kill him before he kills me at this point. I think you do this. If you're popping this to get out that get out a blocker, that is a very rough situation.
We'll see the draw come down. Was it a blocker drawn? If not, we probably say, oh, we see a Van Auger come down. Does he have enough cost reduction to remove one of these buggies and stabilize off a 10 cost next turn? That will be quite special. Just seeing what these 3 cards are at the moment. A little bit of confusion on the table.
So yeah, just calling Judge. I think he was looking at doing the field. He discarded and then didn't look at and then did that look back at his hand and then kind of forgot he was in the process of looking at the top 3. Maybe just confusion. The stream game is always a lot more tense. You realize you're being watched. The game is always harder when you know that like someone's watching you, and it's very easy to just go, oh, this is like it's been unfortunate. It will be the judge will just work this through. Whatever happens, it'll probably just be look at the 3 and then just choose one out to hand, put the rest in the trash. There's no knowledge gained. If anything, there's one lost information by doing that. Unfortunately, so yeah, we just fixed the game set move forward. It's been a long day. Mistakes happen, but it's good to see both players just happy with the resolution moving forward.
We see a 6k swing come through. It looks like we're trying to play a little bit of pressure. I'm super, I can see the Blackbeard player's hand, and I don't know if a buggy can be removed, but he played the Van Auger, so he might be decently confident it can be. And if it can, that is a very big momentum swing, because at best, Buggy can push Blackbeard down to 0 life.
Yeah, I actually think that was kind of his only target in drop, to play off of it, because you do have to play a Blackbeard Pirate. Correct me if I'm wrong.
So you can't play the Caribou. You're definitely correct.
So I think that was actually his only target in drop, which is a very rough situation. I mean, we do see this Vasco shot come down. 2 drop blocker. This is the searchable one for the deck. So a lot of Blackbeard players do just run both now, one being searchable and one not being. So if that was in the drop, definitely that would have been coming out to this Van Auger, I think, just trying to stabilize. But maybe he's kind of realized, like, okay, we're racing. I think at this point he goes, we're racing, and then I need to get there.
For sure, we do see the leader discard again. So once again, we've got no on plays on Alistair's side of things. He's thinking was doing that. Sables, I think, will be devastating. You bot deck the Vasco shot. He only has 3 swings next turn, so you know you're not dying. And then you just attach all your onto your leader, which I believe is 5, so it's
10, 12, 12.
10,
and
12,
he
12.
may just win the game at that point.
Into a 4-card hand. If he doesn't win, he is disabling.
Yep.
Which, at this stage, could be enough.
Yeah, you're at no threat of losing the game. That you might as well just bounce that back to the hand. So it's like, yeah, you give him 1k counter, but it's all right. 10, 12, 12. You have to give me most of your hand to get out of this 10 probably. And then if you don't, you're never finishing me off. Like, what are you doing on the swing back? For sure. Looks like he wants to use leader effect. So tap 5 Don just to play the Croc Mihawk. And honestly, I don't hate it, right? I swing 5, you get 1 card out. These 12-12 is putting it down to 0. And then it's saying, next turn, I have 4 swings. One of it will be stopped by the Teach's on activate main effect. The other will be blocked by Teach. But now I'm going to split my Dom between my Buggy and my Croc Mihawk. And you're not surviving next turn. Yes, yeah, 100%. I think, very, very heads up to go. This is the less risky of play of, like, I have guaranteed more attackers next turn. Because there is a world, I guess, that he can go, okay, well, his hand's kind of large now. If he can get out of one of my attack splits, I'm actually not in a great situation. If he goes 10 cost, poke, get out of one of the attacks, I may just lose the game at that point. So very smart to go, okay, we don't need to win this turn. We'll go for the win the turn after. And it's a higher probability play for sure.
See the 1k counter come down with that 4 cost Buggy. We will see whether Alistair is happy to go down to 2 life.
So we'll probably just see the 6 come through. Yeah, it's definitely just a race at this point and going, okay, staying at 2 is not bad. You do know that you can always, as Buggy, you can kind of just like switch gears. It's like, well, if I think you can if I think that there's a chance I lose, I'm just going to swing into your board instead. So we do see the field activated, probably just discarding a card with no counter, maybe get more digging for something. We do see almost a whiff. Those other two cards were not Blackbeard Pirates. Do see the Van Augur replaced with the Van Augur. And you're just considering what to pop with play now with this.
And
that's a huge hand, though, from Blackbeard.
very interesting, he decides to play the Van Augur instead of using leader effect to discard a Vasco shot and play that for a blocker. But we do see the 10-cost Teach come down, stun one of the buggies.
Yes. Yeah, that would have been interesting to get out those two blockers. I feel like with your hand size, that may actually be a good position to be in. I think that you have two blockers, you have this hand. Yes, they're still technically like lethal on board, but how do you handle that essentially is like, what is the math looking like? Is it worth the risk? Does the buggy have any other lines? I think this is it's like, as bad as it looked, as momentum basis looked, I actually think that it's going to come down very close to the wire now.
For sure, and deciding whether or not it's worth discarding a card. I feel like unless you have a dead card in hand, there's no real reason to discard one, because I don't think Buggy runs any on plays that are worth it besides the 10 cost.
Yes, if he has another 10 cost, I think you do discard a card, because if he plays 10 cost, he then goes 16k, he goes 17k, and you're never getting that 17k. I think you have to use leader and go, I can't lose if I don't do this because he has it. And is that 1k enough? So I think he's maybe gone through the math in his head and going, okay, 12 block, and then the split is just 11-11, and just go, okay.
Yeah, it looks like we don't see it. So that probably signals that he has enough counter to survive the all-in. That's all I can kind of take from this, right, is he must think he has enough counter to survive the all-in, which he has a thick hand. But we will see the Searcher. He's digging for the buggy. He's like,
yep.
I want this buggy, because if I have the buggy and I can bot deck, I'm in a really good spot. Doesn't get anything. I think that's really cool. I think that's a Houndblaze I see there, and that's spicy. I do not mind that whatsoever. We might be going for another search with the Cross Guild, looking once again for the 10-drop buggy.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think if he just decided to go all in this turn with the 3 attacks, I think you can go 11, 11, 12, and it's just, depending on, so he has 7 cards in hand, he mathematically can't get out of 11, 11, 12. So I think if he just committed all the Don and just went 12, he went 11 first, if he gives him anything but 2-2, it doesn't matter what he gives him, he wins the game. Essentially, I think if the buggy player took a second and went, let me do math. I don't want to do math. I'll play the game in one piece, but I kind of need to do some math right now. And I think he could have seen the line where he goes, mathematically, I have the win if I can just do the split, and we get it from there.
For sure, and even if he thinks he doesn't have the split, I'm surprised he decided that buggy was his line instead of just going, you know what, I have a pudding. I'm going to slam this pudding, because Blackbeard does not run many 2Ks. And then I'm going to go, all right, what's my split now? Sure, it's only 9, 9, 12, which is still a very high split. You kind of swing 12 with your buggy first, because then they have to block, and then they lose their 10 cost each.
9, 9, 12 still need 6 cards as well, so that's the thing. I think yeah.
That's very true. 9, 9, 12. It does need 6 cards out of hand. So that was another way for him to get there. But under the stream pressure, it is very difficult. And he might still go for the pudding line. Go, all right, 7, 9, 12 is still enough to get me to the edge, because your hand has to be perfect at 7, 9, 12. It has to be 2, 1, 2, 2, 1.
Yes.
Which is kind of crazy.
After getting pudding,
it's a little bit
if he's him, if he draws like a god, he is him. It is what it is. So we do see the 9 coming through into, I think it was into the Vasco shot. So we do see 2, 2 comes out.
I was into lead. Okay, 2, 2, 1.
Yep, is into lead. Yep. 2, 2, 1 come out. 4 cards left in hand. I think that is 4k counter left in hand, if I can sort of read the cards correctly. Maybe 5. So we'll see the 12, probably just see the 12 come through. It'd be interesting to see whether there's a block and a save of this. I think this would be very telling, almost mind game levels of, okay, I'll block and save. My last cards, 3 cards in hand, are three 2Ks. What are you going to do about it?
For sure, for sure. I think you can only do it if you don't live. Otherwise you eat a block and you live and go for game.
100%.
But I think there's 2 1Ks in there, so I don't think he lives either way. Looks like we'll see the block, just let that die.
Yep. And now the question is, do you go for it? Do I risk this game on 10 into lead? 4 cards in hand. two twos and 2 1s gets you there. 3 2s gets you there. Blackbeard does run a decent. They run some amount of 2Ks. There is more in the deck now, I think, than was previously with the addition of the new blocker, and he definitely knows he has one in hand. So it'd be interesting to see. This is the point where it's like, do I have a better play though? Like, okay, I don't want to risk going for game, but do I actually survive next turn with my current hand, and like, can I do anything?
For sure, for sure. Would have been very interesting to see what would have happened if that 2-cost Vasco shot came down instead of the Van Auger, and then being able to use leader effect and kind of feeling a little bit safer. But Alistair now thinking of the way, do I do it? Do I not? He has a blocker which can honestly just get black holed if we see it off of the stage next turn. You basically get your draw for turn plus 3 extra cards to draw into a black hole, and that must be scary if you're Alistair going, is this actually right? Like, am I crazy for trying this? But still, like, after the black hole, it's like, oh, okay, black hole comes down.
6 6 7, 6 8 9, or 7 7 7 7 7. Like, the math is, it costs 6. It's still a lot of dot investment just to then go, okay, well, I'm swinging 7 7. I have to get a 1 7K swing. I have 2 cards in hand because I have to discard 1 from leader. It's like, well, I can still win. I still live.
It is.
So
It is rough, and it's hard decisions to be making, especially up there with all the lights.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's easy for us
to
to say, just chilling here going, yeah, I haven't played any One Piece all today. I've just been watching people play. The stress levels for us, way lower. We can just sit here. We have all the information. It's way easier for us to say, oh, yeah, just do this, and you win. What are you doing? Where in the moment, it is so much harder. There's so many thought processes going through your head, and you're almost trying to compete with yourself to make sure you make the correct decision, like, that is correct and that you feel the best with. I feel sometimes I'm just like, as long as I'm happy with what I do, that's all good.
So we're playing down an 8-cost Croc Mihawk off the leader effect, which lets us draw 2 and then discard 1. So we'll see. It looks like we drew a couple of 2Ks, choosing which one to discard, probably the Alvita, and then deciding if we want to play one, which we will, which will be the Moji blocker. Very, very strong blocker there. I think both cards in hand are 2Ks, so all these swings kind of have to be bigger than a 9, and I think that was the Black Hole top deck.
I think that was the Black Hole top deck. I think he...
So, and Black Hole costs 4, so...
Oh, does it cost 4? Not 6? Sorry, I was thinking of Liberation.
So we've got 6 Don left, so we can go 7 8 8, which isn't enough.
7 7 9, and maybe 7 8 8 feels bad, but yeah, it's a very tough spot to be in. I think even if you find 10 costs, it definitely doesn't save you at this point. You kind of just have to. I think you just have to go for it and go.
I completely agree. I think you have to go for it. Your hand's not big enough. You have another dead card in hand.
Seeing no Burgess or game has been very rough for Blackbeard as well. Like, if he had one of those last turn, even playing that over the Van Auger, it's like, well, I got a free 12. This one's free. We'll figure out the rest of it as when we get there.
Indeed.
We do see the Black Hole come down, removing the skills from that blocker, saying, okay, this is it. What is my split and what gets me there?
Indeed. Quite interesting. I think it will end up being 7 8 8. Is probably what's most likely to occur. If you're Alistair, though, you're looking at the Don, you're going, I can take this one. I can take this. I got 2Ks in my hand. Yep, looks like he takes it. No trigger. We'll see an 8K come down. He knows he can get out the last 8K as well. Maybe give the Blackbeard player a little bit of hope. And then we'll go 8-4 game. And he shows the 2Ks he had at the start. Boom, there it is, 9K, and Alistair goes 7-0 and is now most likely going to be in our top cut tomorrow. So we know one of them is most likely going to be a blue buggy. Cool to see what the other 16 will be. But this is a very interesting matchup where both decks don't really operate the way they normally do. So both players have to think a very different mindset, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, 100%.
Sounds good. Let's bring it back to the booth. So yeah, that was round 7. That was our buggy showing for the event. First time we've had buggy on stream. Unfortunately, it wasn't buggy as we wanted to show buggy, right? We had to show buggy against a Blackbeard, but Blackbeard is one of the decks in the meta. It's one of the ways you have to play the deck. You have to know what you're doing against Blackbeard, and that was a decent showing of how we see that matchup. Both players kind of trying to navigate what there is. The 10-drop buggy come down the top deck of the second 10-drop buggy, slamming so that one down as well. Really gave buggy quite a strong early lead, but Blackbeard nearly being able to bring it back from the end was really cool to see.
Yeah, 100%. I think it was very much down to the end. It was a very fundamental game of One Piece where it's kind of like, okay, we can go back and we do the numbers and we can get there in the end. Very unfortunate from the Blackbeard side, not seeing those birds, just not having the blockers to bring back at the start of the game. There was a very rough situation, just kind of like fighting for the board the whole time, trying to just play any card essentially and just go, give me something, please. Where's my Jesus at this point? But yeah, Buggy taking it out. Be interested to see what kind of other matchups he's had throughout the day to get here.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we have a couple more deck lists that we might see around to show you guys. So let's get into that. All right, so this is the green, yellow Yamato we showed before, but we do have purple, black Luffy. This was another one of the starter decks that came out. Now, Kevin, why don't you take it away?
So very, the leader that got very much buffed from this in a weird way. So when this card first got released, this 6-cost Luffy is now the key piece of this deck. 6-cost 7k. On play, when attacking, you get to -2 Don, and your leader becomes a base 7k leader for the turn. So when this was first released, people were like, this is all right. Like, you kind of don't solve the problem of you're never really removing cards in this deck. It's like, no Gecko, it's kind of rough. Then people realized, I'm a 7k leader. I can be better GP. Let's go, baby. So essentially, this deck is now transformed into a tempo aggro deck. What you're doing is you are slamming ramp cards on turn 3. You are getting to 6. You are playing this Monkey D Luffy down. You're becoming a 7k, and then you are swinging into your opponent's leader. You don't care about their board. Removal, what's that? 5-cost Black Sanji. We don't even need that. That is 0 black cards in this version. There are some that run more the older style, but this one's pure just aggro. You benefit from the leader. Whatever you -2 Don, you get 1 back in rest, 1 back in active. So a little bit of that GP effect of, you get to kind of play with more Don than you're supposed to, and then you just play these heavy-hitting rush cards. So we have the 1-drop Law Searcher, the Uzahachi, just generic resting for game. The 3-drop Zoro is the ramp of the deck along with the Nico Robin. That's the new one. Similar thing except it's a 2k. Black Maria is also for there just to keep up when you kind of minus too much, a bunch of 2ks. The 6 options dust, and then you do run this PBO2 Monkey D Luffy just for the aggression. So you have this heavy rush line of 2 of that, 3 of the minus rush Sanji, 3 of the Monkey D Luffy. So you're just saying, every turn, I'm just swinging into you. Good luck trying to kill me. I'm a 7k.
For sure. Very, very strong deck. We even get to see the Katakuri in there, which is really cool. But this is Purple Black Luffy, which was one of the new starter decks. Now we have Red Whitebeard. Look, I was surprised to see this top over in America. This deck has been crushing it since OPO2. You know, it was one of the best decks in OPO2, and there's just some Whitebeard players who are able to consistently get tops no matter what meta it was. When it was dominated by Sakazuki in OPO5, there was Whitebeard. Even in OPO6, when we got Gecko and Black decks, there was Whitebeard. BY dominating in 07, 08, there was Whitebeard. You know, he's just able to survive every format, and he's here again in OP11, the OG 6k leader. He has 6 life, which is absolutely insane, but at the end of the turn, you got to add 1 card from your life to your hand. And we've got a bunch of really strong cards. So we've got the Chump Blocker Chopper, we've got Search and Nami, we've got the 2k Sanji, which is normally just a 2k, but can be used to put a lot of pressure on if you need to against some decks. A really good strong blocker in Shiraya. Sanji, one of the new cards. Old Blackbeard decks never ran cards that had power less than their leader, but this Sanji, you're happy when it gets KO'd, because on KO, you get to draw a card. We've got a new Frankie in there. We have 4 Rush Ace. When it gets removed from effects, you can bring it back with -2,000 power. Izzo, which is able to give your leader a Don, I believe it is, and as well as on your opponent's turn, you can trash a card in hand, I think it is, to get +2k. You've got your Rush Luffy, your Rush Ace, you got your Roger in case people just block her up. You know, either of us on 0 life, because I'm going to be on 0 life quite early. I can just turn this Roger sideways and say, you can't block. Doesn't matter if I'm swinging into your board or whether I'm swinging into life. If you block, I get to win the game, as well as Batman and Kick Course, just good defense. Radical Beam, good defense, as well as Gum Gum Mole Pistol for some removal.
Yeah, 100%. I've tried this deck out a little bit. It is just, it's the old style of I play on curve and I turn my card sideways. Good luck, buddy.
It is very strong at doing that, and has a lot of crush cards to help it out with that. All right, that is all we have time for this round, guys. We will catch you during round 8.